Wow. All right. Thank you, President Barchi, faculty members, and especially the great class of 2018 for this honor. So I'd like to start my remarks with the question on all of your minds. Why is this guy our commencement speaker? I mean, after all, the class of 2016 got President Obama. I mean, let's face it, Rutgers should have probably ended all commencement speakers after that. I mean, that's a high bar for any mortal to jump over. And this year's rumored speaker was former Vice President Joe Biden. And yet, somehow, here I am in front of all of you. So I asked myself why Rutgers might have chosen me. And I thought it might be my family's deep connections to Rutgers. My brother Joel, who's in the audience here, went to Rutgers, and he's here with his wife Nancy and their son Logan. My sister, Amy Adina, went to Rutgers. My mom was the Associate Dean of GAZAP for 25 years. And I want to take this moment to wish her and all of the other proud moms here a very happy Mother's Day. And last, but far from least, my son Jake is a member of the Rutgers class of 2018 and is graduating today. So Jake, I'm your dad and I have to say this, but I love you so much. And your mom, Molly, your grandmoms, Rita, Kevin, all of the family, we are so proud of you. And I know this is the most embarrassing moment of your life, so I apologize. But these Rutgers roots are unfortunately not the reason I'm speaking today. No, what distinguishes me from all previous speakers or potential speakers you might have had, the one area that I know I stand head and shoulders over all others is that I'm the only one who was actually rejected by Rutgers College. Yep, even though my mom was working here, I was rejected. Now, I will say Rutgers exhibited very good judgment in that assessment. This is the truth. In fact, every single college I applied to rejected me. Now, if I had gone to Rutgers, I could say that I went to one of the 10 oldest colleges in the country. I could boast that I went to the place where college football began, and I could brag about kicking Princeton University's butt in 1869. But I can't say any of that because unlike all of you, Rutgers turned me down. So I ended up driving a truck while I reapplied. And eventually, Middlebury College ended up taking pity on me, accepting me for their spring semester. By the way, that's also a team you could beat in football. And I think, President Barchi, we should schedule them if we can. Anyway, all of those rejections were not exactly the best way to start one's career. But jump ahead a few decades later, and today I have the good fortune to lead one of the largest technology companies in the world with almost 240 million customers using PayPal or Venmo. I know. Everyone loves Venmo, I know. I've seen firsthand how rapidly the forces of technology are changing our world. And yet it's clear to me the most profound impacts are still ahead of us. In fact, I think we are going to see more change in the next 10 to 15 years than we saw over the last 75 to 100 years. And by the time this wave of technology crashes on the shore, all of you in the class of 2018 will be in the prime of your careers. So let's talk about what this is going to mean for you, because you stand at the confluence of two major trends. First, the rapid growth of technology is poised to change every single aspect of how we live and work. And second, while these technologies offer limitless promise and possibilities, they will demand we address some profound and unsettling issues, which will require new types of leaders, new skills, and even a new kind of citizenship. So let's start with technology, because your generation is going to see an explosion in processing power, the likes of which have never been seen before, because we're entering the era of quantum computing. So in 1981, IBM launched the first personal computer, powered by a chip no bigger than this, that had on it 29,000 transistors. And that was revolutionary at the time. Fast forward 35 years later to the Apple iPhone X. It's powered by 4.3 billion transistors on a chip. And as a result, the iPhone is 500 times more powerful than that first personal computer. But in the next 10 to 15 years, quantum computers will be exponentially more powerful still. They will have the equivalent of 1 quadrillion transistors per chip. So that's not going from billions to hundreds of billions or even trillions of transistors on a chip, but the equivalent of a trillion transistors. It's actually hard to imagine how powerful these machines are going to be. The second metatrend is artificial intelligence, or AI. And today we practice what's called specific AI. Machines learn specific tasks like simultaneous language translation or how to beat a human grandmaster at chess or Go. But in the next 15 years, AI will become more general and be capable of replicating human cognitive function. Unprecedented processing power and machine intelligence will make it hard to distinguish between a machine and a person. And sophisticated algorithms feeding on vast amounts of data will only make these machines smarter. So where does all that data come from? Well, it comes from all of you and me. On an average day, we tweet 500 million times. We send 270 billion. We send 270 billion emails, conduct 7 billion Google searches, upload 105 million photos to Instagram. And all of you on the ground floor will be happy to know that you're not alone, because every day there are 1.4 billion swipes on Tinder. You can explain to your parents what that means. The digital universe, the data and created and copied every year, by 2025, it will be the equivalent of 25 billion Libraries of Congress. So put all three of these trends together: massive computing power, machines capable of thinking like humans, and vast and growing quantities of data, and you start to see a future where every single activity and every single job in the world's economy will change. The benefits and the opportunities created by these technologies are endless. We'll make discoveries, we'll solve mysteries, we'll cure diseases, and enable more and more people around the world to learn, connect, and improve their lives in new and unforeseen ways. Now that's the exciting and hopeful view. And yet there is potentially something a little Orwellian about the whole thing. While we are creating more and more data, we are also creating ever more powerful machines and devices that are capable of finding, replicating, and potentially exploiting this data. We are facing crucial new challenges of access, education, and labor. This is the challenge that faces us. We are the generation of human beings who must figure out an ethics of technology. And that brings me to my second point. Now, perhaps more than any other time in human history, we need responsible and ethical leaders with vision and courage to stand up and defend basic human values and civil rights. It's the kind of leadership that seeks to democratize access, participation, and collective striving, and moves away from what Rutgers professor of English, Erica R. Edwards, warns are the violences of charismatic authority. Now, all of you will have opportunities to lead and to follow. Many of you sitting in your robes today will lead important initiatives. You'll make valuable discoveries and no doubt weigh in on vital issues. But in the age of Twitter and Instagram followers, we all have the responsibility to follow thoughtfully and resist conscientiously. All of us, regardless of how we become involved, must have a commitment to ensure that the benefits of technology and data apply equally, especially to those who are most vulnerable. Look, it's become crystal clear to me that businesses can no longer sit on the sideline, nor can they go it alone without a revitalized public sphere. I believe that business has to step up. It has to take an active stance. And we need our brands to be about much more than just making money. They need to be about having a purpose and having a mission. And the choice between profit and purpose is a false duality. Businesses must be a force for good in the world. In fact, I think we have a moral obligation to make that happen. This doesn't imply that corporations are people or they should enjoy the same rights as people. It simply means that in our current moment, in the face of massive technological change, companies need to take a stand for social justice. And when those values are under attack, And believe me, they're under attack frequently these days. We have to have the courage to act. And I know firsthand, it's not as easy as you might think. A few years ago, PayPal announced our intention to build a global operations center in North Carolina, where we were going to hire multiple hundreds of people. But as we were finalizing our plans, state representatives and the governor of North Carolina passed House Bill 2, HB 2, which was a piece of legislation that threatened the rights of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender citizens, and denied those members of our community equal rights under the law. To say the least, our values were offended by that. Discrimination of any kind hurts all of us, and it's a threat to our very democracy. So when we saw this law being passed, we withdrew our expansion plans and walked away from North Carolina. That was a decision that carried consequences. It obviously impacted our bottom line and our ability to expand. And we faced backlash from those who had a different perspective on the bill. And for the first time in my life, I faced multiple death threats. It was lonely for a while because not many people or corporations had taken a public stance against the bill. But I knew the tide had turned, being from New Jersey, when Bruce Springsteen joined us and canceled his plans to perform in North Carolina. And shortly thereafter, the NCAA, the NBA, and other corporations joined us in boycotting North Carolina, and eventually HB 2 was repealed. The ultimate point here is that whether you're a business person, a scholar, an artist, or an activist, or a doctor, we have to be guided by values of inclusion and freedom. These are not political decisions, they're values-based decisions. To me, HB 2 was never a red issue or a blue issue. It was always a red, white, and blue issue. So this is the world you're entering. And these are the issues and opportunities you're inheriting. The world has never seen this much change, accelerating this quickly, and frankly, the stakes have never been higher. So given all of that, here are just a couple of thoughts for you to consider as you look ahead. First of all, do not underestimate your power to make a difference. Every one of you can help repair the world. Don't sell yourself short, and honestly, don't sell the world short, because we need you. At the same time, too many people spend too much time agonizing over the exact right next step in their career. But the truth is, no one knows where their life will lead them. As my dad, Mel Schulman, used to say, man plans and God laughs. But despite that, we have to step out into the world. And if we're going to step out into the world, we should learn from every experience. And the best way to learn is to listen, truly listen. There's a reason we're all born with 2 ears and 1 mouth. It's because we should use them proportionately. And finally, be relentlessly optimistic. Look, life has a way of throwing lots of curveballs. You're going to get knocked down, and it's going to be painful. but you have to get up every time, and having a little attitude helps. My favorite quote from Shakespeare is, "There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so." And I believe that. I think we need to imagine a better world in order to create it. So be optimistic. All of us, your parents, your family, your friends, and your teachers, are counting on you to step up, to define and live your values, and to make a difference. It won't be easy, but when I look at Jake and I see how much he's grown during his time at Rutgers, I have all the confidence in the world that the class of 2018 will make us all proud. Thanks and good luck to all of you.